Hello everyone, this is yours truly, J Blue, or J Blue 68. Today is November the 17th on a Sunday, and today I'm doing a comic haul of Marvel's The Inhumans. A lot of people are not familiar with The Inhumans and who they are, but these characters were created in the late 60s, if I'm correct, or early 70s by the now late comic book writer Jack Kirby. I believe Stan Lee and Joe Shuster, if I have the name, his name correct, Joe Simon, I think it was, Joe Simon, were also contributors to the characters, but Jack Kirby was the main writer of these characters. This is a very retro book. As you can see, the colors are very brilliant as they were drawn in the 60s and 70s. And the characters are as follows. You can see here to your left or maybe your right, depending on what part of the screen you're looking from. But these are the main characters. They're known as the Inhuman Royal Family. To this side right here is the character Karnak. It's Triton, Medusa, Gorgon, and the back there is the royal dog known as Lockjaw, and in the very front and center is Black Bolt. Now Black Bolt, of course, is the king of the Inhumans. They live in a land called Attilan, which is centered on the moon, but eventually in the comics Attilan moves to Earth due to some type of intergalactic skirmish or battle. Right there, Medusa is the queen of the Inhumans, Black Bolt's wife. There's also another character who's not seen on this. Two other characters, primary characters, not seen on the cover. One's name is Crystal. She's a princess of the royal family, sister to Queen Medusa, and also Maximus, who's Black Bolt's brother, his evil brother, you could say, who is always planning and plotting against Black Bolt and the royal family. Now, the thing about it is with the Inhumans is what makes them significant is and different from other Marvel superhero groups. We're familiar with the Avengers, we're familiar with the X-Men, we're familiar with the Fantastic Four. The Inhumans came about through an experiment conducted by an alien group called the Kree, a group of blue-skinned aliens who came to Earth thousands of years ago during an intergalactic battle between themselves and another alien race, actually two alien races, one called the Shi'ar, or the Shi'ar, and another called the Skrulls. Now, if you're not familiar with the Kree, they actually were seen in the movie Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and 2 is a character called Yondu. And Yondu is actually Kree. He has a blue skin, and he and the character Star-Lord have a relationship with each other. They're kind of frenemies. But to make a long story short, again, the Kree had an intergalactic war with these two other alien races, and they traveled throughout the galaxy seeking to create I guess you could call it superhumans or super aliens or super warriors to fight the war for them, as they were losing this war with the Shi'ar and with the Skrulls. So they created went throughout the galaxy, basically pillaging other planets, and again creating through experimentation super creatures or super beings. In the case of humanity, they created metahumans. So, but with that creation, they used a form or formula called pterogenesis. It was kind of like a cloud of vapor of chemicals where they could transform humans into metahumans. Metahumans also, another word for metahumans are superhumans with superpowers and super strength, but not only changed them from being humans, but also changing them to their actual physiology, or their makeup to be becoming or looking like creatures, inhumans. Sometimes taking on the form of fish-like creatures, or looking like a horse, or whatever they transformed them to, they became again inhuman, and or either by physical trait, or sometimes having uncanny abilities. Like Black Bolt, he looks human, but once he opens his mouth, he never talks, because if he talks, his voice actually has the power to destroy he actually bring down an entire mountain with just the whisper of his voice alone, and destroy entire cities with his voice. He can emit supersonic wave through his voice to do these things. Medusa has a power within her hair, or her hair actually is her strength. Her hair is actually strong as steel. She can use her hair like steel, but she can use it as a whip, or whatever she chooses to use it from, or use it for. I'm sorry. And you can see Triton here, who has taken on the physical form of looks like an aquatic animal, almost like a lizard. Again, one of the reasons why they're called the Inhumans. So the Avengers, as we've become familiar with them and know about them, the Avengers basically are superhumans, and their powers come about from either some type of accident, some type of traumatic event, like Spider-Man, for instance, was bitten by a radioactive spider. And then you have a character like Steve Rogers, Captain America, who was created by an experiment by a German scientist. So they're superhumans most of the time. Their powers come about from some type of, again, traumatic accident, some incident that occurs in their life at a later or early time. The X-Men, the difference between them and superhumans, they're born with a what's called the X gene, and there are certain incidents or accidents or situations that can cause their X gene to mutate, almost like a cancer, which activates their superpowers. In the case of the Inhumans, it's similar to the X-Men, but not the same. Again, their power was implanted by the Kree race, who came to Earth thousands of years ago, and they had to go through the form, as I mentioned earlier, called pterogenesis, to actually transform them into Inhumans. Now, on this desk, I actually have the recent the recent series that was released by Marvel this past summer. There are 5 books. Death of the Inhumans. This is actually the final book, which features, looks like a dead Lockjaw and a mourning Black Bolt, mourning over the dog's dead body. Here you have Medusa, and she definitely looks very dead. Skip over here to book number 2. And this is the main antagonist of the story here, a new character called Vox. And we'll be taking a bit more of a look at him and the pages of book number 1 of Death of the Inhumans in just a second. And here's book number 3. I haven't read the entire series yet, I just started, but I'm very familiar with Donny Cates' writing. He recently did a story for the character Venom, and boy, it's a very good story. If you haven't read it or not familiar with the character, the movie is out, of course. I wasn't very impressed by the movie, as you probably heard in a previous video of mine. I think Donny Cates should have been responsible for the writing of that story. Anyway, there's book number 1. Let's take a look at the pages, the artwork from the pages, and this is a description, kind of what I was talking about. This is early man seen during the days of, or the caveman days, looking into the sky, seeing giant ships approaching Earth, which are, of course, as I mentioned, the Kree. It says here, long ago, the Kree scattered seeds of war across the stars. More pages here. Humankind being taken into captivity by the Kree. And you can see them beginning their experiments, turning humans into what you see here.